If you're planning a longer stay in Lima, whether that's 3 weeks, 3 months, or maybe you're just testing the city before retiring, one of the first things you'll want to understand is how to get around safely. Today, I'll walk you through the best and safest ways to move around Lima, including the transport options I personally use every day. And make sure to stick around until the end. I'll share a real Metropolitano robbery story I witnessed so you know exactly what to avoid. So let's start with one of the systems I use the most, the Metropolitano. The Metropolitano runs from Chorrillos in the south all the way to Comas and beyond, connecting many of the major coastal districts. It's fast, predictable, and for 3 soles and 20 cents, about 80 cents US, is one of the most affordable ways to move around the city. In terms of safety, it's generally fine, as long as you avoid heavy rush hour. Lima's rush hour sometimes feels like it never ends, and that's when crowds form. And crowds create opportunities for pickpockets. A few simple things help a lot. Keep your phone away from windows and doors, stay aware when the bus pulls into a station, and if you can choose a quieter time of the day, even better. If you're planning a longer stay in Lima, make sure to subscribe. I have full guides on neighborhoods, cost of living, and safety. Now, if the Metropolitano isn't your style or you prefer door-to-door convenience, taxi apps are the next big one to know. Uber and Cabify are the two that work best here. The cars are usually in good condition, the prices are reasonable, and the drivers tend to be calmer than a lot of Lima's traffic. Uber can sometimes be cheaper, but both apps offer occasional discounts. A couple of reminders: confirm the plate before getting in, sit in the back seat if you're alone, share your trip with someone you trust, and always wear your seatbelt. Seatbelt use in Peru is not as consistent as in other countries. If you stay in Lima for a while, apps will probably become your main way to get around, especially at night. Street taxis are everywhere in Lima, but if you're new to the city, I recommend avoiding them. Some cars aren't well maintained, and pricing isn't always clear. There are licensed taxis. You can recognize them by their yellow color or the red and white rectangular stickers on the side of the car. If you're choosing among these, Satellite is one of the more reliable companies. If you do take a street taxi, just ask, how much do you charge for this ride? Prices are usually set based on distance. You might be able to haggle a little, but it shouldn't be anything dramatic. I rarely use street taxis myself, and when I do, it's because there were not other options available. Now you might be wondering, why don't I just rent a car? And the truth is, driving in Lima isn't impossible, but it does require a lot of local knowledge. Lanes can disappear without warning, signage can be inconsistent, drivers react fast. Even Peruvians who grew up here prefer taxi apps to avoid the stress. So if you're considering renting a car, I recommend waiting until you really understand the flow of the city. For most long-term visitors, using the apps is far simpler and much safer. Now, let's talk about something even more local: public buses and colectivos. Public buses in Lima are extremely cheap, but not the easiest for newcomers. Routes can be confusing, buses can get crowded, and drivers sometimes stop wherever they want. Eventually, once you get comfortable, buses can be useful for short trips. I've used them from Surco to Barranco and along Avenida Brazil to get to the historic center. A more predictable option is the A2 bus, which uses your Metropolitano car and follows proper stops. You'll sit around Miraflores and major avenues like Javier Prado. Colectivos, however, are shared and official taxis with a bad reputation. There have been robbery cases, and I don't recommend them at all. If you're new, apps and the Metropolitano will cover most of what you need. Alright, now let's switch gears a bit. Tuk-Tuks or mototaxis are more common near markets and more local neighborhoods. They're great for quick, short rides. You won't find them in Miraflores or San Isidro, but you'll see them in parts of Barranco and many other districts. Always confirm the price before getting in. I've had a couple of memorable tuk-tuk rides, including one with an enthusiastic female driver who got me home extremely fast. And another time when the driver insisted I owed him 2 extra soles after I'd already paid. I just gave him the 2 soles, not worth the argument. Outside Lima, tuk-tuks are everywhere and sometimes the only option. Next, let's talk about something nearly everyone enjoys here: walking. Walking in Lima can be fantastic. Barranco, Miraflores, San Isidro, Jesus Maria, and Magdalena are all safe, flat, and easy to navigate. Walking along the Malecón is one of my favorite things to do. great views, fresh air, and beautiful sunsets. A few things to watch out for depending on where you walk. Some shop owners wet the sidewalks to clean them. Water meter covers can be left loose, and polished sidewalks can get slippery with even a little drizzle. Construction zones also aren't always marked well. Walking is great, just stay aware of your footing. Alright, now let's talk about one of the most important questions for a lot of people: airport transportation. You got a few solid options. First, Uber and Cabify have dedicated pickup areas at the airport, very easy to use. Second, the Airport Express Lima bus is safe, affordable, and goes straight to Miraflores with stops at several hotels. Third, the official airport taxis. You book these through an attendant at a counter, and then the driver comes to meet you. I've used them before. Once, after giving the location where I was going, the attendant tried charging me more just because he was a different part of town. When I clarified, the price was corrected. And finally, for the most reliable option, I work with a few trusted private drivers, the same ones I use for myself and my family. They don't speak English, so I coordinate everything. If you want that service, check the description below or contact me and I'll help organize it. Just don't take random taxis outside the airport. That's important. Now, before we wrap up, a few everyday safety habits. Use Uber and Cabify, especially after 11 p.m. Avoid random taxis in non-touristy areas. Skip Colectivos, not worth the risk. Share your trip in the app. Ask the price before getting into a street taxi. And on the Metropolitano, be extra mindful during crowded hours. And now, the story I promised you at the beginning. One day, I was on a very crowded bus traveling from Chorrillos toward Miraflores, and at one of the stops in Barranco, someone suddenly yelled, "Someone took my phone." It happened incredibly fast. I couldn't see exactly what took place. The bus was packed, but I could hear the commotion at the back. I don't know if the person got their phone back, but it happened simply because the bus was extremely crowded. In Lima, sometimes it feels like rush hour never ends. This isn't something you'll see every day, but it's something to be aware of. Keep your phone in your pocket or bag when the doors open, even though you'll see plenty of locals using their phones freely. If you're planning a longer stay in Lima, 3 months, 6 months, or maybe you're testing the city before retiring, make sure to subscribe. I'm documenting my journey as a working professional living in Peru. And if this video helped you, watch my cost of living in Lima guide next. Thanks for watching. This is Victor, and I'll see you in the next one.